I'm going to teach you the main pattern that has led to my millions and led to me creating so many millionaire students. Learn this pattern. What's up, Tim Sykes, millionaire mentor and trader here. Trying to put all of the 20 plus years of lessons that I've learned the hard way up on screen for you to help speed up your learning curve. As of this moment, I have 30 millionaire students. I'm excited, but I want more. And a lot of what it comes down to is understanding how stocks trade, understanding that it's not an exact science, but history does repeat in the stock market. And I find that the same kinds of things happen again and again, especially with promoted stocks. You have all these promoters lying about the potential of their company. You have all these newbies believing the promoters. It's all based on human psychology. The same thing happens over and over again. If you follow me on Twitter, you see me fighting all these idiot newbies, all these bots, all these promoters. Then the stock crashes, then everyone goes silent, and they realize I was right. I'm not trying to be mean to people. It's just frustrating when I see this kind of pattern play out again and again and again. So I came up with this 7-step framework. If you click the link below, it is the 7-step framework. This tends to work every time with promoted stocks, and not even just promoted stocks, but other volatile stocks too. And it works intraday, it works over several months, it works over several days. Like, it's crazy because it's based on human psychology. And understand, I pulled the 7-step framework out of my ass, no different than my trader checklist guide, where I come up with calculations on how to score a stock out of 100. I'm trying to think about everything that I do with a trade, and then I'm trying to put it on paper with numbers. I'm shocked, for one. Some people are like, oh, this is so genius. You must have really thought hard. No, I didn't. I'm literally just trying to regurgitate everything that's in my head. And it's shocking to me. This is nearly a decade, or maybe even over a decade, since I put this on paper and I taught this to my students, but it's true. So understand, first of all, steps 1 through 7 is not always in order. Sometimes a play will only exhibit a 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes a play will do 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back to 3, 4, and then it can go in different cycles. But once you start to understand the 7 steps, you can adapt your trading because you can kind of understand what comes next, usually. So long story short, this is a very typical graph of a promo. Doesn't matter the company, doesn't matter the press releases, doesn't matter the hype. All that matters is that you have promoters hyping this company up as the next big thing, idiot newbies believing it, and the stock doing what it normally does. Some people will say, Tim, you have this stuff work on these illiquid penny stocks. This thing was trading 400 million shares a day. It works on the most active traded stocks. If this were trading at 1 million shares a day, it still would work. I have yet to find a promoted stock that does not fit at least some of the 7-step framework. Sometimes the stock gets halted. This is if it's allowed to play out. Sometimes pumps just get halted and they just cease to exist because they're promos. So I'll tell you that this kind of bouncing ball towards nothingness, or the long kiss goodnight from my penny stocking DVD, my original penny stocking DVD before I came up with the 7-step framework. This doesn't always play out because sometimes when it's spiking so much or crashing so much, the SEC halts it because promos are very sketchy. Promoters are very sketchy. Most promoters end up in jail. Shout out Jordan Belfort. But check this out. So this is the 7-step framework. This is most penny stocks. It doesn't matter what the company is doing, how much money they have, what their promise is. The stock usually does nothing. No one wants to invest in penny stocks. Nobody cares. But you start seeing a little bit of a ramp up with this 1 and 2 pattern when it starts to get some volume. You can see there's a clear beginning of the promo right here. Look at the volume, not much activity. Then the promo starts right here, okay? There's the first green day. If you watch enough of my videos, I love buying the first green day. This is a first green day with a lot of volume. This is when the promo began. If I went back to this chart, it probably is also when they came out with a press release. Promoters like to put out press releases so that you don't know that there are promoters involved. It's just oh, everybody saw the press release. All of a sudden, how did everyone see the press release? I don't know. They must have a good PR service. No, there's promoters involved. And this begins the whole run-up. Understand though, when a promoter gets involved, it's not just straight up. The promoters are getting shares either from the company or from a third party, and they have to dole out the shares. They usually buy shares in the open market to make it look like other people are buying it. Promoters are fully crap. And then they're also selling the shares that they got from the third party or from the company, because that's how they get paid. So their whole job is to create all this activity, and they want the stock to go up and down to make it look normal. Even though it's not normal, it's a promotion. So the promotion began here. You can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 green days. Then you have a red day, green day, or red day, green day, and then 4 red days. Then it starts up again, right? You have more press releases. Doesn't matter what the company is, get that out of your head. Be like, you're not talking about my biotech, you're not talking about my wireless tech company, you're not talking about my app company, I'm talking about all companies. It's all meaningless. Once you start to realize that it's all gibberish, what these promoters promote, it applies to everybody. If you see me warning on Twitter, I often highlight this article, I'll link below, from Men's Journal nearly a decade ago, where I warned about the marijuana pumps, and I went against this Wolf of Weed Street guy. He's like a wannabe Jordan Belfort, but he's just, too incompetent. I don't even know if he can read, because some of the tweets that he puts out, it's tough. Hooked on phonics, man. But I went against these weed promoters. I said, this is a typical pump pattern. Luckily, there was a journalist following him, documenting the whole weed revolution, came upon me and said, wait a minute. And if you read the article, you can see the journalist switch sides like mid-pump. He's like, wow, wait a minute, Sykes actually has points. Yes, because I've been around. All those weed stocks crash. So if you see me talking about, why am I talking about a weed article from 2014? It doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter what sector. It's the same freaking pattern. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Anyways, so you get this little run up, you get a little rundown. People ask, if there's promoters involved, why is it going down at all? Because again, the promoters are trying to make this look natural. They don't want you to know about the promotion. If you read reviews of my books and you read reviews of my teachings, like people are like, it's trash, it's the worst. It's promoters and bots. I don't mind if you think that my teachings are trash, because I know how this plays out. This is the beauty of being real in an industry full of fakes. Promoters don't realize it. They try to discredit me so that no one knows this stuff. But in reality, they're just weeding out the dumbest people. Anybody who doesn't look back at the history of how pumps act, I don't want them as students. They're too dumb. I don't have that much patience. So if you do think my teachings are trash, and if you don't believe literally thousands of examples, 8,000 plus video lessons, I can't help you. I don't want to help you. Please leave me alone. I can't deal with crazy people. I have very little sanity left after dealing with so many pumps and newbies over the years. I'm trying to preserve what little sanity I have left. Please, if you're lazy, if you believe promoters, just go away. Go run away. Go into the fields, pretend that everything is good. Anyways, this is manufactured price action, okay? You get a little run up, then you get a little rundown. And the promoters say, oh, there's shorts. This is where the promoters start to say that there's naked shorts who are betting against the company. Doesn't matter that the stock is here at 3.5 cents. They come up in the message boards and they say there are evil short sellers betting against the company. That makes the newbies even more brainwashed. And the newbies are like, screw these naked shorts. Naked shorts, it's an illegal term where like supposedly you short these stocks and you don't borrow the shares. Promoters love saying that it's a battle between good, like the righteous company, and then naked shorts. In reality, there's zero short sellers of 3-cent stocks or 4-cent stocks. In order to short a stock under $2.50, you have to put up $2.50 a share, okay? So if you're gonna short a 3-cent stock, you're gonna have to put up $2.50. It's the dumbest argument I've ever heard. And yet, newbies and promoters love spouting this. They come up with like this BS data being like half the float is short by naked shorts. So they turn it into like this whole thing. Meanwhile, it goes up a little more and they're like, screw you naked shorts. We're up to what? 6 cents. This is amazing. More press releases, more press releases. This is pattern number 2. When you get more upside, more hype, the volume isn't as much though, because it's tougher to get as much volume. Notice this is what happens with many pumps. You get the most volume in the beginning when you lure in the most newbies, the most idiots, and the promoters are actually buying stock because they want the stock to go up. When you have lower volume all the rest of the way, it's because the promoters are not buying anymore. They're liquidating every single day. It's not naked short sellers, it's the promoters who are selling. The very promoters who newbies trust are actually their own worst enemy because they're selling. They don't care about how the pump ends up. They don't care about the newbies. They're not nice. Anyways, this is number 2. You have a little downside here. Again, this is where the promoters will put out messages and tweets and they'll say, it's the naked shorts. We should be going higher, but the naked shorts are against us. Again, those of us who know how this niche works, we laugh. There are no naked shorts of a stock at 6 cents because we know you have to put up $2.50. And the whole idea of naked shorts, in my 20 plus year career, I've never seen it. I ask the shares to be short. I ask the broker if they have them. If they have them, I reserve them. I have never shorted a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cent stock. How do I know that the promoters are lying? Because there have been a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cent stocks that the promoters say I have shorted. I have all these idiot haters who are like, I know you're shorting my 4 cent stock. And I'm like, I'm not shorting your 4 cent stock. You're just brainwashed by the dumbest promoters in the world and you're one of the dumbest people I've ever. Anyways, it devolves into that stuff. Then, when the promoters lure in more people right here saying that's the naked shorts pushing us down, that's when they really hammer it home. Press release, press release, press release. This is the number 3 pattern. Maximum hype, maximum upside, and as I say, if you know how this pattern works, it's okay to buy on the way up. I want promotions to go as high as possible because the higher the better. I say ride the pump, just never believe it. Actually, leave a comment below. Say, I will ride the pump, just never believe it. Understand that even though this is nice with the number 3 pattern, and you can see each one of these, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, very nice to go up 5 days in a row. But the more a blatant promotion goes up, the greater the risk of it being halted. It might not necessarily have 5 days of upside. On day 3, it might get halted due to blatant promotion. It's happened before, so just be careful. Ride the pump up, but as it's going higher, remember to lock in profits, okay? When I first began teaching, I wanted to teach this and reinforce my points so much. You know, I literally used to write blog posts, why I invested $50,000 into this scam. And people were so confused. They're like, what is this? Are you trying to reverse psychology me? And I said, no, I put in $50,000 because I think this is a scam and I think it's gonna go higher because the promoters are paid to push it higher, but I'm gonna sell. And it made sense in my mind, but you have to understand, most promoters just think anybody who's talking crap about a company is a short seller, or God forbid, a naked short seller, as they like to, paint an enemy. I'm not against promoters. I don't know why promoters don't like me. I'm just trying to teach people how this stuff really works. I think it's good to buy promotions early on in the promotion. I think it's very dangerous to buy promotions up here. You never know when the crash is gonna come, where the promoters are really liquidating. And like I said, there's the risk of getting halted where you'll probably lose everything. Promotions that get halted for 2 weeks or 2 months, they come crashing down 90 to 95% when they reopen, if they reopen at all. Anyways, this stock had 5 big up days. This is a number 3 pattern. This happens again and again and again. And remember, this 1, 2, 3 can happen intraday. It can happen over a few days. It can happen over a few weeks. This is over a few months. It works on different time frames. But this is what always happens if it's not halted. Number 4, this is the crash, okay? And this one went up to basically 20 cents. And then in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, crashed down to 8 cents. This is actually pretty tame. Sometimes it goes from 20 to 8 cents in one morning. This is like a lesser one. I guess here on day 3, it actually dropped to 10 cents. So this is a 50% drop from 20 cents to 10 cents in 3 days. And then it actually bounced a little bit, even though it went lower. I love this volatility. Like I said, I want promotions to go as high as possible. I want maximum volatility, maximum range, really, right? When I'm taking positions here, when it's 1, 2, 3 cents a share, it just doesn't move that much. It's not really worth it for me. I'm trying to make a third of a penny. But if it drops from 20 cents down to 8 cents, I'm looking for a bounce. The bounce is the number 5 pattern. When a pump crashes too fast, the promoters usually support it. This is why I talk about promotions so much and promoters. Why do they want to support it? I thought they were liquidating all their shares. Because if their pump collapses too quickly and there's nobody buying, then the newbies start to say, wait a minute, what's going on? They do more research. They see that promoters are involved. They want the newbies to stay brainwashed as long as possible. So they engineer kind of a soft landing, or at least a soft-ish landing. they pump it back up. So they have to buy some shares because they don't want the newbies to realize what's going on. They don't want to risk an investigation. If too many newbies complained, I just lost 70% in 2 days, then the investigators get involved. Investigators shut the promoters down. So promoters like to bounce it for 1 or 2 days. And in this case, they bounced it from basically 8 cents a share back up to 12 cents a share. This is a 50% bounce. It doesn't look like much, but you can make 50% in 1 day because you know when promoters are going to bounce it. The beautiful thing is that you don't have to guess. You know this pattern works, and you can see the promoters pumping. They're all different usernames. They're using all different platforms these days. In the past, they used to email with a nice disclaimer. We were paid $200,000 for a 6-day promotion. Now there's no disclaimers, but there's Discord chat rooms. There's Twitter messages. They're on StockTwits. They're on WhatsApp. They're in, what is that video game network? Twitch. They're on Twitch, right? They're all over the place. It's really hard to track promoters. I would use Stocks to Trade Breaking News. They alert all the promos. We'll have a special link to Stocks to Trade Breaking News underneath. I would not trade without Stocks to Trade Breaking News. They're alerting all the promos, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's in Discord, whether it's on Twitter. But again, you know with these patterns, especially if you know that it's a promotion from the get-go, you kind of know what the promoters are going to do. So they engineer this 50% bounce, and then this becomes a number 6. So the number 6 pattern is if the bounce is enough, you know that it's just an engineered bounce for a soft landing. It still has to come down. As you can see here, when it goes 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, it's like a bouncing ball. Literally, find a ball and just bounce it on the floor. The first bounce will be the biggest, the second bounce will be less, third bounce will be less, and then by the 4th or 5th bounce, it'll just stop, which is pretty much what this stock does at the end. So you want to dip by the crashes, whether it's intraday, I like morning panics, if you follow me enough, when it's a 30, 40, 50% drop in the morning, because it is most likely going to bounce. Whether it's a 50% bounce or a 30% bounce, I don't care. It's just the promoters doing what they do. Then it usually gets choppy as the promoters start to liquidate more, and whoever paid the promoters start to liquidate more, comes down even more. But notice this crash. This crash is basically from 9 cents down to 5 cents, and actually hit a low of 3.5 cents. So 9 cents to 3.5 cents in 2.5 days, that's excessive. Again, the promoters are going to support it. They don't want it to go to zero right away. They don't want the complaints. They don't want to get shut down by investigators. So you actually had a nice little bounce here from 3.75 up to 7.5. This is a 100% bounce off the lows, okay? So once you know that you have the run-up, crash, big run-up, big crash, little bounce, big crash, little bounce. This is the 7-step framework. Whether it bounces 50% in 1 day or 100% in 3 days, the promoters are trying to engineer a soft landing. Then it gets a little messy in here, okay? You see it comes back to like a number 4 because it actually spikes from 3.5 all the way up to 11. So this is, a triple. That's a little too much. Then you get a big crash. But then you get just like a little bit of a bounce, another little crash and a little bit of a bounce, and then the long kiss goodnight into a 6 and a 7. You can short this number 6s, but if you short the number 6, you want like a higher price stock, okay? I would never short a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cent stock. Even if it's at like 10 or 15 cents, it's really tough. I want pumps to go as high as possible. In a perfect world, if I can ask the promoter, I was like, can you manufacture a stock up from 1 cent to $2, 200 times, right? Because then at its peak, if this were $2 and it would crash down to $1 and it could bounce up to like $1.50, then there's nice range for me to go long, for me to go short. But promoters are scared of higher prices because that actually does open the door to shorts. As much as promoters say shorts are involved and naked shorts are involved, they're not. Promoters like to keep this whole plan underneath the range of most short sellers so they don't have to deal with that. All of this is just promoters selling, and whoever paid the promoters are selling. Okay? They're not dealing with short sellers. This is like the boogeyman that they come up with. They're like, Sykes is shorting all these naked shorts as a bear raid. No, it's not. This is all part of the promoter's lies. That's why I have to make this video. If you click the link, again, you'll see that the Wolf of Weed Street and all his brainwashed followers were giving me death threats. I actually was shorting their stocks because they were higher price stocks. But again, I never naked short. I always borrowed from the brokers. There's usually not even enough shares to short in order to really, impact it at all, right? Like I usually only shorted like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 shares. GTII the other day, where I was accused of a bear raid, I shorted 1,000 shares. Literally 1,000 shares at 880. I covered in the sevens. I made $1,000. But now I'm public enemy number one because the GTII promoters said that I'm a naked short and I engineered a bear raid. It's BS, okay? This is why I teach. So this is the 7-step framework. Leave a comment below. Say, I will ride the pump, just never believe it. I wouldn't short sell anything this low priced. If the promoters do get it up enough to $2, $3, $5, fantastic. More range, the better. Understand that it always ends badly. I've never seen a pump end well. Never. Thousands of examples. So it's like knowing the end of a movie, knowing the end of a book, you know it's not going to end well. So you can play on that. But you don't know exactly how high they're going to pump it. And again, promoters out there, I'm not against you. I have to expose your BS when you lie about me and when you pull your whole little charades. But at the same time, I want these pumps to go higher. If you say, hey, I'm a promoter, I'm getting paid X amount, my goal is to do investor awareness, but really we know that your goal is just to pump the stock high as possible, fantastic. I hope you pump your your 1 cent stock to $2. I hope you pump your 1 cent stock to $10. Sell as much as you can. Go down to Colombia and live your best drug-fueled life. I don't care, okay? I'm just teaching the 7-step framework. If you're not a promoter and this confuses you, click some links below. The 7-step framework, learn it. Stocks and trade breaking news, they alert all the promos. The challenge, this is where I mentor all my students. All my millionaire students, 30 plus now, have come from my millionaire challenge. This is just one video. This is just one example. This is kind of high level information. When there's an actual pump going on or promotions going on, we dig into the SEC filings, we go into it, and you try and trade the best that you can. So that's what I do. This is what I've learned over 20 plus years. Take it or leave it. You want to lie about it? That's fine. It just gives me more reasons to teach, more reasons to tell the truth. Without promoters, I don't have as many opportunities. So all the promoters say, oh, Sykes wants us to get shut down. No, I don't. Play your little game, do your little fantasy. I do have to, cut in every now and then and try to educate newbies so that they don't lose their life savings. But at the same time, I'm not against the promoters. There's always going to be promoters. There's always going to be scammers. I'm not a lawyer. I don't care what's legal and what's not in terms of their promotion. I care about stocks. I want to trade the action, whether a promoter is pumping a stock up too much, whether a short seller is getting squeezed and it creates a giant spike. Trade that volatility. Just don't fall in love with the technology. Don't believe the companies. Don't believe promoters. Expect the worst out of everybody in this industry. Traders, many of whom are fake. Many people on Twitter are just bots created by promoters. You have no idea how much fakery is going on. Even when I first got started teaching, I didn't know how many fakes and how many liars there were. That's trading, especially that's penny stocks. This is why Wall Street doesn't want to deal with penny stocks. This is why bigger firms don't care. You can't make tens of millions, hundreds of millions, or billions in this niche. But as my students and I proved, you can make a few million, especially when it's this predictable. So I'm grateful for the predictability. I'm grateful for the promoters, and I'm grateful to be able to teach. Why do I teach? Why do I donate all my trading profits to charity? Because this is what I love doing. I love correcting BS. I love donating to helping the less fortunate. It makes all of this meaningful for me. You don't have to donate 100% of your trading profits like I do. You don't have to teach, but you should know how the 7-step framework works. Again, leave a comment below. Say, I will ride the pump, just never believe it. Hopefully I can de-brainwash a few people and you can participate in the 7-step framework because it's pretty beautiful.